What is going on, traders? Welcome back to the Traveling Trader. In this video, I got something special for you. We're going to be talking about the top 3 stocks that are currently short squeeze candidates, in my opinion. This does not mean that they will for sure short squeeze. We will talk about what needs to happen for a short squeeze to occur. But in my view, I think you should be keeping these on your watch list and do your analysis on them in case you want to enter a potential short squeeze. So we'll be going over that. I'll obviously be giving you a quick market update in the beginning before doing so. Let us get right into it. Welcome back to the Traveling Trader. If you get anything out of this video, leave it a big fat thumbs up just like this. Leave it in the comment section below. Let me know which short squeezes you are playing. I know obviously I'm going to get the typical AMC only comments, but besides that, which short squeeze candidates are you playing and what do you think of these 3 stocks that I mentioned? On high alert this week are the treasury yields as they continue to bounce around support. They are at critical support here. Starting off on Monday, trading a little bit lower than 1.34%. As I said in my last video, this means that the market is interpreting that inflation, as a matter of fact, is transitory, is temporary, and that there are bond buyers that are rushing to buy bonds in order to take advantage of any rate before it drops lower in order to beat any future inflation. Remember that the bond market is actually bigger than the stock market, especially when we have institutions like the Fed dumping insane amounts of money to buy bonds to uphold the markets. Because I'm recording this well before pre-market, we see currently that the S&P futures are down, as well as the Dow Jones futures. The S&P futures are down about 0.18%. The Dow Jones futures are down about 0.4%, while the NASDAQ continues to make all-time highs. And the reason is, as I said in my last tweet, as well as in previous videos, as long as the bond yields keep dropping, that is good for growth stocks, i.e. NASDAQ stocks, i.e. mega cap tech stocks, basically, but not really good for value stocks. We have the CPI index numbers for June coming out tomorrow as of the time of this recording, July 13th. This obviously could impact the yields one way or another. Because the yields are at support, I continue to have a hedge on yields. I'm expecting a bounce eventually. I don't know that they go lower than that 1.3 mark, but it is basically a hedge against my NASDAQ portfolio because I do have a large amount of NASDAQ stocks. And if yields go up, then those NASDAQ stocks go down. So one of the ways that I hedge against my NASDAQ heavy portfolio is by buying puts on TLT or basically betting that the yields will go up. I recently did a whole video on how to hedge in case we do see a market downturn, whether it's a pullback or a correction. I personally don't think we see another bear market in the short term, but we could very well see somewhere in between a pullback and a correction, somewhere in between 5 and 15%, especially because the summer months are usually slow months in the stock market. All right, so with that said, what are the top 3 short squeeze candidates that I'm looking at the moment? Well, first of all, let me talk about CARV. But ticker symbol CARV, I do think that we will see CARV tick higher, maybe in the 30s today, because the short interest on it is still insane. If you take a look at CARV's chart, you can see that it gapped up 107% on Thursday. We grew another 21% on Friday, even though technically it was a red day because it closed below where it opened that day. But if you take a look at the estimated short interest on Ortex, by the way, you can get links to all of the tools that I use. I leave them all in the description below, just in case you want to take advantage of them yourself. You certainly don't have to, but they are helpful if you want to do this kind of analysis. So if you take a look at short interest on Ortex, it's currently sitting at around 55% for CARV. So based on that and based on the sentiment online, I would not be surprised to see another price movement upwards for CARV, potentially breaching the $30 mark again today. All right, so stock number 1 that I'm looking at in terms of a short squeeze candidate is actually Chewy. Now, I'm trying to find stocks that not only are short squeeze candidates, but also there is a significant reason or fundamental analysis for them to keep pushing on higher. So if you take a look at Chewy short interest, it is down from almost 19% where it was a few days ago. It is currently at 12.4%. Now that is still relatively high, but it is not the highest that we've seen. However, what is interesting on Chewy, and the reason that it is a good short squeeze candidate, is the days to cover. So there are so many shares on loan, and basically days to cover is shares on loan divided by a certain type of volume indicator, in this case, the 3-month daily volume average, and you get a days to cover of 5. That means that if shorts were to cover, it would take them 5 full days just to close their positions, which is a dangerous position to be in if you are exposing yourself to 5 days of market risk, especially if you have crazy buyers coming in trying to squeeze the stock as the price goes higher and those short sellers are trying to close their position. Now, it's important to note that just because something has a high short interest and or a high number of days to cover, it does not mean that we will see a squeeze. As a matter of fact, most shorted stocks do not see a squeeze. It is just those stocks that are on the masses radar, right? You need an insane influx of volume in order to drive a short squeeze, either in the stock price, either in the stock itself or in the options market, or both. Now, although we are already in Chewy, and if you want access to all of our trades, link is in the description below. Be a part of the wonderful trading community where we have thousands of traders discussing trades all day, every day. But we are already in Chewy. However, because it is sitting here at the 100-day moving average and it was trading in a tight range, albeit this drop here in the beginning of May, trading in this tight range really between $78 and $90, it did see a high of almost $120 back in February. So because it is sitting here after being in this tight range for a while, there is a lucrative opportunity here, not only because of the short squeeze, but because of the position that it sits in, since you could set a stop limit not that far from your entry, not that far below your entry, which makes it a low risk, high reward trade. If you look at the order sentiment on Market Chameleon based on the options market, you could see that there's increasing bullishness, meaning that options traders are willing to buy Chewy at the ask price or higher. And in the next two expirations, you could see a large influx of calls relative to Chewy's normal call option volume. And lastly, it helps tremendously that Chewy is rated as a strong buy by most of the major financial institutions, from Jefferies to Bank of America to Piper Sandler to Credit Suisse. They all rate it as a buy with varying degrees of upside, but the average target price for Chewy based on all of the analysts combined together is $110. Chewy is currently trading at $85, which probably explains the call option volume that we saw just now. All right, stock number 2 that I'm looking at for a short squeeze candidate is Lemonade. You could see Lemonade here creating an inverse head and shoulders, which is a bullish pattern, sitting at the 50-day moving average, just chilling here after this accumulation pattern. On Ortex, you could see that the day to cover is on 4. It was actually higher above 5, almost at 6 really, and the short interest is still almost 14%. Again, the reason I like this setup is because it is a pretty low risk, high reward entry. You can set a stop limit very close to where you enter. So if you entered at 97, for instance, you could set a stop limit at around 85 and play Lemonade for the long term, hoping for price targets of, I would say the initial price target would be around 110, just eyeballing the resistance levels here, followed by 120. And then obviously we know that Lemonade, for those of you that have been trading Lemonade for a while, hit a high of almost $190 earlier this year. Anyway, traders, that is it for this video. If you got anything out of this video, leave it a big fat thumbs up like this. Leave it in the comment section below. Let me know which one of these stocks you're playing. And if you're playing any short squeezes that aren't in this video, I'm curious to hear from you. If you want access to all of our trades, including our options, stocks, crypto, futures, etc. Link is in the description below. Come be a part of the community. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Stay safe out there, traders. Peace.